why did you want to do this in the first place?
Like become an astronaut?
Yeah.
It's an old dream that's been on the back of my mind ever since I was a young boy. I mean, I can't remember not fantasizing about it. To be honest, there was never really like an actual plan of life. I very quickly realized this is never going to happen, but it's a fantasy that I allowed myself to indulge in, and it was in a way, it's okay to have a dream even if it has no chance of coming through, because just the fact of having the power of a dream is that it pulls you forward, right? And anybody that has the luxury, the chance of having identified a dream has kind of a reason to move forward and to live and to better themselves, and then something happens. You may never reach the dream, but I might have very, very likely never become an astronaut, but on the way, it convinced me to stay fit, go to university, learn foreign languages, become an explorer, become a scientist, and it led me to this fantastic career that I had before becoming an astronaut, and I was in the right place. And then I heard they were recruiting astronauts, and I was already well established in my profession, but it's as if time stopped, and I kind of felt like I owed it to the little boy in me, to the 6-year-old in me, to try, to at least give it a shot. And the kind of fantasy became a maybe, very unlikely initially, but then as time goes on and tests go on, and I keep being called back for the next round of interviews or tests, at some point I realized, wow, there's only like 40 candidates left. Ooh, maybe.
Talk to me about the training. I mean, what is the most challenging part, do you think, or what is maybe a highlight for you in terms of the training? We were talking to you yesterday about the baby elephant on your chest.
Yeah, so there's the physical aspect, but it's really mentally that where the challenge lies. So astronauts come from many different walks of life. A lot of astronauts are, military pilots, very high-level operational people. So for them, that aspect is not new in the job. I was more of a scientist and a doctor. So to me, to can acquire that operational mindset and be comfortable operating a machine under a stressful environment, so that's a skill that I had to learn. So the skill of being an operator and thinking like an astronaut, if you want. So that has been the biggest part of it. And to do it here in Russian adds another level of complexity, but it is at the same time a great opportunity to get to know your Russian colleagues that you're gonna and get to know them really well. I mean, we spend hundreds of hours together fighting really, really bad situations in these simulators. So kind of know each other very well, the crew, it makes us brothers and sisters in arms.
And I mean, we often in our jobs, when we talk about Russia, we talk about the political tensions between Russia and the West. And then here we are with a Canadian, an American, and a Russian astronaut all packed into the Soyuz.
Yeah.
Does the outside political tension ever factor into the calculus for you when you're doing this?
I think we can't ignore politics and the tensions. It's just that's the reality. But no, it doesn't come into play. Maybe it gets to go the other way around. I know very well this Russian guy and this American lady, and we are best friends, and we trust each other's lives in each other. So it's the reverse. That influences the way we perceive politics. And I think we're proud to represent, we're like an example of when we decide to work together and manage to find ways to work together despite the tensions, despite the differences, when we manage to get over that and sit down and work together on a common goal, wow, it's unbelievable what we can achieve. So I think space exploration is a great example for humanity. It's like a reminder that there is hope. When we do find a way to resolve our differences and sit down and work together, it works beautifully and we achieve amazing results. So when you see this one planet floating in the middle of deadly vacuum of space, you cannot help but feel like you are more than a Canadian or an American or a Russian. You are human. You're an Earthling. And we're all in it. This is our spacecraft. That's it. That's the only one we have. It's beautiful. It's fragile. We've got to take care of it. And I think that that perspective that space has given us will forever continue to change our appreciation for globalization and for the need to find solutions to the tensions and conflicts and work together. I really think this is it reassures me. I mean, the fact that we work together in space, there's this bridge in space that's always open between countries. There's always a bridge up there. That reassures me that we can do it, and we will we'll continue, and we will integrate better. And one day, maybe we'll all feel like we are Earthlings.
You, with your background, you as a Canadian, that you're anything that you're hoping to bring to this mission that might be a little bit different from the general work that's
we're all different, we'll I mean, I think spontaneously I'll be interested in talking about things that interest me, so things that interest me in the space program, really, when I dig into my deepest motivations, is the international aspect is really important to me. I think the fact that we do this together as a consortium of nations, let's say it frankly, some of the countries that built space station a couple of decades ago used to wage wars at each other, right? Throw bombs at each other. So that's great that now we're working together in space.
Do you have any moments in the midst of all of this where you kind of look back and reflect on your early life and all of that and the journey that brought you here? And if if you do, what goes through you, do you think?
So, yes, I do have glimpses of maybe what's the force that ended me here. And I think it's from very early on an obsession with trying to understand everything. I'm one of those people, I'm not alone, who it just annoys me when I don't understand something. I just can't stand it. I get an itch. I need to understand things that are happening around me. I want to go to the bottom of it. So as you grow up, and the bubble of your consciousness gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and I realize, there's my family, but there's other people, there's my home, there's my street, there's my city, there's my province, there's a country, there's this continent, and then throughout history, there's before, there's after, and then, oh my God, the whole thing is on Earth, and Earth is just one little thing in a solar system. So that vision, that perspective, I was always very, very hungry to understand it more and more clearly, how the planet works, how civilization works, how do all these machines work. And that has driven me, I think, to just stay in school so long, basically.